And thanks everybody for joining. It's going to take just a minute for all of our 230 plus folks that registered to jump into the session. So we're going to wait just a couple of minutes to let everybody have a chance to get in. Ooh, I see some familiar names. Hi, Bobby Walker, Dave Shantz. Good to see you guys. Hi, Brandon Meeks. How you doing? Awesome. You guys, while everybody is flowing in, I'll just take a second. My name is Candy Tillman, and I just want to say thank you all for joining us. Time is a precious and valuable thing, and so we appreciate you spending about the next 90 minutes with us. Listen, we know life gets in the way. We also have 2 children that may pop in at any moment. If you need to jump off and jump back on, no problem. We'll also have the session recorded and on our website by the weekend. So again, thank you all for jumping on. With that, we will go ahead and get started. Again, I just wanted to say thank you all for being with us. I would be remiss if I did not thank all of our partners for making this entire series, including this particular session, possible. We will give them all a shout out in just a second as well. A little bit of background. My husband and I, Kevin, who you'll meet in just a second, we started the 50 Strong Employer Connect series simply because we wanted to offer our support to giving warm connections and direct exposure to those in industry. We know that navigating civilian employment can be complicated for those used to military norms. There's a lot of effort going on in this space, and we just wanted to offer our support on a project for this fall. A little bit about us. I'm Candy. My background is 20 years in corporate before jumping face first into the veteran services space about 2 years ago. During that time, workforce development has been a really kind of passion area of mine. And what originally got me interested in the veteran space to begin with was I fell in love with a transitioning service member about 15 years ago. And, you know, kind of lived through Kevin's experience, which he'll tell you about in just a sec. But really, we're here because the stories of so many other service members that we've heard over the years as they transition out. So again, thank you for being with us. Kevin, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. I appreciate everyone joining. I know on a Thursday it's kind of tough, but thank you very much for taking the time to do this. And thank you for all the employers and everybody in DoD and Scott for jumping on as well. My background, I got out of the military in 2005. I was over at Range Battalion over in Fort Lewis, Washington. Prior to that, I went through college, played a little bit of minor league baseball, and then 9/11 happened and I jumped into the military. Prior to getting out of the military, I didn't have there's probably quite a few people that are active duty. At the time, it didn't cross my mind to be looking for a job. I'm telling myself I'm going to be good to go. You know, I've got college, I've got my Ranger tab. What else do I need to get a job in this world, you know? So as I got out, I didn't really think about it. I took some time off because my headspace was not really that positive, to say the least. But as I started kind of looking around, I took some odd jobs through some friends, whatever, but it was nothing real career oriented. And when that time came to actually transition to like a regular job, you know, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know where to start. And it was really difficult at every level. You know, my self-worth started dropping. Everything about it, I just didn't have any direction. So it was really a nightmare. Luckily, I had met Candy, and she had spent so much time in the corporate world, and she was able to get me through, you know, what do you mean you don't know how to put your resume together, start contacting employers, looking at the roles, all these things, start now networking. But to me, it was just super foreign. Eventually I got a job, started working at Lockheed Martin, entry-level job, and started climbing up to different roles. Next thing you know, I moved over to Dell, and now I've got my own little software company, just like everybody's trying to keep it alive. But as Candy mentioned, it can be really difficult, and you don't realize how difficult it is. And as I've been out for quite a while, we meet all kinds of people, whether they're they're active duty, they've just transitioned, they're in college. Some of these people were over in Phoenix. They've got MBAs at Thunderbird, which is the best international business school on the planet. And they're struggling. And from our standpoint, it's like, this is just unacceptable. Just unacceptable. What can we do to help facilitate a way to get everybody in front of employers, get the right tools, the right skills to get that transition going? So that's really where this kind of got going. Candy has been in the veteran space for quite a while now and understands the landscape, and has is the driver behind kind of gathering everybody together to see if we can help people out as best we possibly can. So I'm just grateful to be a part of it, and hopefully this is helpful, and I'm grateful everybody joined. And Candy, thanks for the opportunity to
Awesome.
chat a little bit. So
thanks, Kev. So as Kevin said, part of what we're doing every Thursday, the same time every week, from August 27th until the mid of December, we are going to have different employers come in and share pathways into their companies, feedback on just how to be career ready. And, our employers, here's what I want you to know. Every employer that we have join us for one of these sessions is actively seeking your skills, and they have resource-specific military pathways. Maybe one of them is a great fit for those of you on the phone call, maybe not. But what we hope is that across these next 15 weeks, the repetitive exposure to the language and the culture and the pathways will provide you with tools for your own job search. So at this time, I will just take a second to recognize we have 3 partners that have sponsored this entire series. And these are partners that when I reached out in the summer and said, hey, we have this idea, what do you think? They all were like, we're in, let us know what you need. So at this time, I want to thank ADP, Amazon, and Tech Systems for being sponsors for this entire series. And then as you can see here, we have many other employer partners that have jumped in to say, absolutely, we're there with you to see if this makes sense. I also just want to recognize, we have 4 university partners. Today's session is focused predominantly on SkillBridge, and so we have a lot more active duty folks than normal, but our university partners have really leaned in because they understand the importance of providing additional career readiness for their military connected students. And so again, I want to say thank you to the University of Arizona, the University of South Florida, the Texas A&M University System, and the University of South Carolina. Strategically, as I've been working in the veteran space, there's 3 organizations that I work really closely with on a daily basis. Those are VetTix, Veterati, and the DoD SkillBridge office. And so again, today, we're going to be all about SkillBridge, but I definitely just wanted to give a shout out to all these partners that are making this all possible. Again, the 50 Strong Employer Connect series, every Thursday. If you have not joined us before, we hope that you can join us in the future. And the replays are all posted. Listen, this is raw content. We post the unedited videos because really we just want to help folks get the information that we think is really important, especially information directly from employers. So the replays that are currently available, our first week was a university partner welcome. We had a welcome and an overview by both VetTix and Veterati. If you are not familiar, especially with Veterati, please check it out. This is on-demand mentoring that you can find input from folks in your industry and or location. We also did a session around how to leverage LinkedIn. And so if you missed any of that, the replays are all there. Our first employer focus was Amazon's. We had 3 awesome individuals from the Amazon Military Affairs team. If you missed that, you can check it out. Listen, Amazon does sessions every single week that they host. So if that is one of the employers that you're interested in, there are lots of opportunities for engagement. Last week, we were joined by the military and veteran talent acquisition lead at Deloitte, and Kevin gave an awesome overview of demystifying the recruiting process. If you missed that session, I believe that the information that he shared was absolutely foundational, and I encourage you to check it out. Next week, we are going to be featuring Microsoft and Tech Systems. I encourage those of you that are specifically interested in either of these two companies, please join us next week. We're also going to be giving away a $200 Xbox gift card and really sharing about some cool new opportunities, especially for student veterans. But for today, again, thank you all for joining us to talk about DoD SkillBridge. I want to, before I just introduce the folks on the call with us today, I want to share, I have been working in and around DoD SkillBridge for a couple of years now. And of every single program that I have seen to support the military to civilian employment transition process, there is nothing quite like DoD SkillBridge. And I say that because it is DoD supported. Service members are more aware than ever. Commands are giving more approvals than ever. Employers are more interested than ever. And this is basically one of those win-win-win programs that we are super excited to share with you today. So we are so excited to welcome Boris Kuhn, who is our fearless leader at the DoD in charge of the DoD SkillBridge program. Boris, thank you so much for being here. We also have Lieutenant Colonel Scott Morley. Scott, thank you for being here. We are looking forward to hearing from you as a recently sitting recruiting commander in just a bit. And then thank you to all of our awesome SkillBridge champions at some amazing companies. Harris Morris from ADP, Elisa Bennett from Amazon, Kathy Hanais from Boeing, David Lee, CVS Health, Michael Piper from Lowe's, Maria Bear from Mayo, Joe Wallace from Microsoft, and Liz McLean from Northrop Grumman had a personal item that she had to get to today, but she has shared some information that I will take you through. And Liz is awesome for those of you that haven't met her. So again, I just want to say thank you all for being here. A couple of things for those of you on the call. We encourage you to use the chat box to connect with those that are on the call. And as I'm looking at the chat box now, it looks like some of you have already started to connect with each other. Thank you so much. If you want to put in your LinkedIn URL, now is an awesome time to do that. The reality is everybody on this call has something in common just for the simple fact that you're here. So I encourage you all. You can see my LinkedIn URL there. For those of you that I'm not already connected with, I accept all connect requests from service members. So please feel free to reach out. There is also a Q&A box. Those messages will only come to the panelists that you see on your screen. So use that if you have questions for the team. I will be honest, we have a jam-packed 90 minutes for you today. So we are gonna do our best to get to some of the Q&A. But go ahead and put your questions and answers in there. I will commit to, after this call, what we don't get to, we'll try to round up the answers to your questions and get those out to everybody. Sound okay? Okay, so at this time, without further ado, I would like to introduce Boris. And Boris, if you could just start by sharing a little bit about your role and an introduction for DoD SkillBridge for those of the folks on the call that may not know what the program is.
Sure, not a problem, Candy. And thank you so much for putting this together, and thank you for everyone who's on the phone call today. And if you hear my dog squealing or my daughter running by, I apologize in advance. Really quick, so SkillBridge is a fairly new program. We at OSD, also Secretary of Defense, and where I sit at Force Education and Training, we've taken, if you will, ownership of the program roughly about a year and a half ago to, number one, at the end of the day, assist us transitioning or separating service members and ultimately assisting our service departments with the administration of the program. We took the tuition assistance approach, if that makes sense, of how we work with the academic institutions. From we go ahead and review and do the compliance factors with the industry partners, so that way the service departments can focus on really assisting you, the service members who are on this call, and also hopefully assisting the industry partners during that process of during that administration process. So SkillBridge, because of it being so new, it's an authorization of allowing the service members to participate in up to their last 180 days in employment training opportunity. And the unique part about the SkillBridge authority is it's not an apprenticeship, it's not an internship, it's not a fellowship, it's not a mentorship. It can be really a combination of all of those facets in one. So what we look for is, and what we work with industry partners is really to put a comprehensive plan of success together for number one, you, the service member, and your families for a successful transition into that industry partner's opportunities that they have available for you. The way we caveat it is it's a better than a 15-minute or 60-minute interview process. So that way, number one, both you and the service member and the future manager or managers or teammates, you will have an opportunity to have a cultural immersion and exchange and see what it's like to be there. A lot of times it ends up being a success. We've seen roughly a 96% success rate with the SkillBridge program thus far. So that's really tremendous. We have a lot of interest from Congress and the White House really to expand the program to outside of the service members. Our pushback a lot of times is we're the DoD. Our business is the service members, and we're happy to expand it in supporting our spouses. What we do is we allow the veterans, if their industry partners will allow them to participate, but we obviously can't. We don't have the authorities to fund their pay and benefits. So that's the key. Number one is you're actually being still paid by us, the DoD, while you're participating in the opportunity, which is tremendous. So you're allowed to basically go TDY or your temporary assignment in your last days or weeks or months in service is with that industry partner or a training provider that's working with those industry partners to assist you in gaining that gap training, if you will, or right skilling or upskilling you into that opportunity. And I'll leave that discussion up to our industry partners, of course, to discuss those there as well, because they probably speak better to that than I will from those standpoints. So the way I look at it is our job in the Office of the Secretary of Defense is to make sure we take care of you, the customer, which is the service members, and ultimately how can we increase that opportunity and transparency. So that was a big key in the SkillBridge or Career Skills Program, as the Army refers to it currently. So anything we do to increase transparency, economies of scale, and awareness, and the opportunity to have mobility and flexibility were key factors when we did our initial evaluation of the program, and to make it more viable, if that makes sense. In its initial debut 5 years ago, it was very much focused on installation-based focus or its localities. So industry partners really had to invest and be vested at the locality. So, and service members really didn't have the plethora of programs available to them, which we'll see in the next slide, probably with the program expansion growth just in 1 year alone. And that's really shows the indications of our the value that veterans bring to both our industry partners and labor at large and the workforce. So there is a demand signal, if you will, from labor desiring veterans. At the same time, we have constraints, and the mission has constraints, if you will. So I will say, make sure you're cognizant. If you are interested in participating in SkillBridge, make sure you take care of your TAP. You can start up to a year out, if not even 2 years out. Get as much information as you can about the programs. Please talk to your leadership in advance so they know what your desires and intents are, so you can maximize your opportunity well in advance. Because a lot of times what we see is both the service members and leadership are caught off guard, and they're not aware of the intent of the service members. So do yourselves a favor and take care of yourselves and your family by making sure you take care of your unit as well, because the big thing that we always advocate for you as the service member to our industry partners is you're going to be you're a gapped billet for that time duration that you're not there. So while you're not there, somebody else has to pick up that work effort. So it's no different than even an industry, and they understand that and respect that. So collectively, we try to work and maximize the opportunity for you, the command, the service, DoD, and industry. So there's a success all around. So as numbers don't lie, as I always say, I'm an econometrician. Thank you to the Department of Defense, and I'm a veteran myself from the United States Navy, prior enlisted, and I had the privilege of being picked up for the Seaman to Admiral program, and got to give back and serve, as they say, from a leadership perspective. Or some might say I quit my enlisted roots. So however you look at it, that's fine. I am salty. But again, numbers don't lie. We've quadrupled our programs. We're on track for that this year for sure. And to be truthfully, I'm so grateful, even during COVID-19, with everything happening in the pandemic nationwide, the fact that industry partners are still actively coming and speaking to us, and having champions like Candy and David and Liz and Elisa and others, and Joe Wallace. So many of you continuously discussing this and championing to other organizations to make sure there's viable opportunities for our service members to transition. So we have program growth. That's me doing a conservative estimate of how many service members we have, because Army alone has told us they have a 600% growth in internships alone. So that's outside of Air Force, who has seen a 2,500% growth this year. So we are smashing records, as they say, for good or bad. So I'm very excited from that standpoint. Don't tell that to the boss, because we are DoD. We like to see 4 or 5% growth. So we're not in the business of stock markets here. So, but again, for us, it's an opportunity to make sure we bring economic value to our service members and to the communities they go back to. So that's the ultimate advantage. And the way I caveat it, put on my HR hat, the ultimate recruiter is a happy transition or separated service member, because if you're not happy, that's not going to help us on the back end. So hopefully you all are better off, and I'll leave it there. And if you have any questions, I'm on LinkedIn. I kind of have an open door policy, and Candy knows that, and many others know that. I get 300 emails a day, and I'm pretty active, and I try to answer as many as I can. And so anything I can do to support you in your transition, as I was supported in mine from my mentors, I'm willing to give back. So thank you for your time, and thank you, Candy, for putting this on.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Boris. The other thing, Boris, do you want to talk just a little bit about the DoD SkillBridge website? I know you've done a ton of work on this.
Sure, no problem. So for those of you who have been around for some time, a long time ago, about a year ago, we actually turned a year old from the DoD SkillBridge website. Prior to this, we had a very static site, but we're not going to live in the past, as they say. We learn from the past and move on, as my history teacher taught me. So the new SkillBridge site, or the current SkillBridge site, the way we applied it is we want to provide resources to the service member, you military members, and we provide an overview from that standpoint, how we can provide the resources. And on the right side, you have active links to SkillBridge locations, SkillBridge authorized providers, resources from the services, from your particular services, all the way down to FAQs. And if you're wondering how good you're going to do in your area from a transitioning standpoint, one thing we actively do is I'm a big believer in collaboration. We worked with the National State Legislators Conference Council, Department of Veteran Affairs, and Department of Labor. So and our TAPS program to put together a very robust, is I would say, depiction of both veteran population demographics by state and the transitioning information by that state or installation. So that information is available for both the service member, our industry partners, and also commands. So, and you can kind of see that across the top, we have that information distributed. So we speak differently to, if you will, to you, the service member, because we want to provide you the customer. Every one of you are customers. So, but we're speaking to you differently in the sense because we're wanting to deliver different messaging and information to you. But at the end of the day, if you still have a question, and I'm a big believer, if you can't get an answer in 30 seconds or less, but hopefully you get, spend some time on the SkillBridge site, because we do give you a lot of information. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're still confused or still saying, okay, there's an issue, or you want to participate, just go to contact us. So we do have a CRM or contact, some people say customer relations system, or however you want to call it. I'm a tech geek as well, so on top of being a data geek. No, I'm not wanting to leave DoD yet, but this is me giving back. So if you do contact us, make sure, if you are a service member, please make sure you highlight which service you're in. Otherwise, you're going to go to the wrong service, or you're going to come to me, which is fine. I'm more than happy to answer your question, but you're probably better served by being answered by an Air Force representative of the SkillBridge program, or an Army representative, or Navy. Especially if you also put in your installation, it'll be an installation or regional rep that will answer your questions, with who you'll more than likely work with throughout the process. So building that relationship from the beginning, because they will probably assist your command if this is the first time they're going through this process. And that's something that Scott will probably be able to talk to you about as well. So again, it's very, it's static and it's there, but it's also an interactive site as well. And we recently published the first brochure for SkillBridge from the DoD. We worked with the services, and we put in there a process flow chart, if you will, of the current processes for each of the services. We also have that on the SkillBridge site. So if you have questions with regard to, from both the industry partners of where they, the services are at today, now where they were a year ago or 5 years ago, because we still hear it today. So we're trying to debunk that. A lot of services have moved on from their old processes or procedures, I would say, and we've all embraced the more of a, hey, okay, well, the Secretary of Defense is taking on the responsibility, and the General Counsel there, so they're working with the industry partners. So we're gonna, the individuals like Scott, who are commanding officers, are taking on the responsibility, making sure to take care of their airmen. So that's a critical element there. So we're taking on the burden of the relationships with our industry partners, so that individuals in leadership positions at the command levels can take care of the airmen and all those responsibilities there. So please take a look at the website. But if you're an avid reader, we have a brochure as well available, as Candy's pointing out there. So we will be updating it. A lot of the services are going to be updating the information as well. We are hoping to publish a DoDI. As everybody knows, laws and policies, if you will, take time. So those who have been in government or know anything about that process, it could be sitting on a desk for quite some time until it gets signed, or at times it just gets signed. So,
and Boris, I believe that, Boris, is it right? Is Kristen Scott, she's on this call, she had a lot to do with this brochure, is that right?
Not this particular brochure. We have another FAQ that we do.
Okay, got it.
Together.
This Sorry about that.
Internal, but I will say, Kristen Scott, I will give a shout out to her as well. Yep. A lot of her inputs drove insights. We did limited user testing of the brochure before we published it, because we did a lot of changes to it as well. So yep. I will put it out that way. So Kristen Scott did. I would say a lot of her remnants are in there as well. How about that?
Awesome. Yeah. Another shout out to Kristen Scott.
That's right. There's so many people who participate, are tremendous champions and contributors to the space. So absolutely.
Yeah.
And so,
and then Boris, we also have just a few employers on this call. So I thought we would quickly just run through this process in case employers are interested.
100%. So just as I mentioned earlier, the contact us is not just for service members. So please make sure when you're responding, you're responding appropriately. So if you're a service member, please don't respond as an industry partner. Even though we'll understand that you're a service member, because you'll probably put your rank in there and which installation and the type of question you're going to be asking, we'll quickly understand that who you are. But if you get to just contact us and it's looking like it's an industry partner, because the questions change and the format changes. So we thank the technology companies for creating the capabilities for us to allow the coding. But for industry partners, it's pretty easy. We don't publish the questionnaire or the MOU because a lot of people ask us, why is it not live or available? That is because we're the big bad Department of Defense and we're not allowed to put burden on the public. And you might be laughing about that. That it is what it is. So we're not allowed to publish questionnaires because it could be perceived as a survey and a requirement for you to fill it out. But if you want to participate, you can contact us, and it is a requirement for you to fill out the questionnaire. And then after you're done with the questionnaire, it shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes. If it does, please contact us, and we'll help you fill out the questionnaire. It shouldn't take you. It's pretty simple. We're just trying to make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into from that standpoint. But you're also answering the questions that the services want answered, because individuals like Scott and Command want to be assured that their service members are going to legitimate programs. So it's the starting point, if that makes sense. And it will be followed up with a MOU that, depending on the size of your organization or your authority in your organization, might require legal review and other reviews, etc. So this is a typical question that we normally get asked is, well, how long is the approval process to become a DoD SkillBridge approved program or authorized program? I normally say it depends, because on our side, as you can see, it's seconds away from being in your hands. And from that point on, it can take 3 to 5 days from an administrative process on our side and getting to our secretary's desk. So beyond those touch points, and sometimes just missing something or vice versa, it really depends on an industry partner providing the necessary documentation, filling out the questionnaire, and your organization's requirements for the MOU. So again, as we're putting this out there, and Candy has done a nice analysis of this, normally we see approvals for mid-size to large organizations 2 to 3 weeks. If all the ducks are in a row and legal knows what's happening and all that fun stuff, depending on, I always say, the inbox of your legal department. But from that, that's a good synopsis right there. So, but again, this contact us changes. If you're a service member, it will look very different. You will not get an MOU, I promise you. So don't worry. If you're getting a questionnaire and you're a service member, we'll fix that. Please don't fill it out. Don't burn yourself with that burn.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Horace. I also wanted to just share a few other resources that many of us on this call, I think, are finding pretty useful. I want to give a shout out, and if there are any service members on this call or employers, there is a great LinkedIn group called the DoD SkillBridge Community of Practice. Shout out here to Dave Shantz, who is also on this phone call right now. David is the admin for this group, and this group has kind of turned into a place of awesome sharing that we've seen happen in LinkedIn. So again, service members, if you are not in that group, please send a connect request to David Shantz. Let him know that you heard about it on this call, and I'm pretty sure he'll let you in. I also have a LinkedIn job search turned on that is for anything related to DoD SkillBridge. And so anytime any employer pops something on LinkedIn Jobs that has the keywords DoD SkillBridge, I get an alert. I highly recommend this for all service members as well. There are other what I'll call direct employers that are doing amazing work with SkillBridge that I wanted to also highlight, including the VA. What I am hoping that folks take away from this, Boris shared that there are now 400 plus programs. Some programs you have heard of, and again, my whole thing is open every single door that you can for SkillBridge. That includes doors that may be for folks on this phone call, other employers that offer SkillBridge opportunities, as well as third-party organizations. So I've listed here a few of the third-party organizations that facilitate SkillBridge internships that I work with on a pretty regular basis. I encourage you to just check out the opportunities that they have. Again, open every door. Do not wait to get placed, but open every door. So I just wanted to highlight some of the opportunities that are out there. So again, thank you so much, Boris, for that. You guys, if there are questions for Boris, pop them in the Q&A. What we're going to do now is I want to give, really, Kevin and I are really about helping you connect directly to employers and frankly getting out of the way. So we have 8 amazing employers that are all actively advancing their SkillBridge opportunities. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Piper at Lowe's to share a little bit about what Lowe's has, and then we'll follow that up with our other employer partners that have joined us today.
Thanks, Candy. I appreciate it. Yep, I'm Mike Piper. I'm the military recruiting strategist at Lowe's. I'm an Air Force veteran as well. So I really wish this program was there when I got out, because I did have the good old rough time as I transitioned. But Lowe's is actually just starting to launch their DoD SkillBridge fellowship here. So we're actually launching it in 3 different areas. So we're launching it in our store operation management, supply chain operation management, and human resources. And all of those have an extensive training plan. And there's an extreme need currently in those areas for roles here at Lowe's as we are growing rapidly. And then you can kind of see the timing here. So you'll start to see those pop up here very soon. And that first cohort is going to be running in January to April of 2021. That's actually right at our end of our fiscal year. So extremely excited to get it in the 2020 fiscal year. But you can apply by searching 2021 fellowship program on careers.lowes.com. And you'll be able to apply there. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to our military recruiting team at militaryrec@lowes.com. I also earlier posted my LinkedIn inside the chat. So if you want to connect on LinkedIn, you can search me by my name, but if you search Lowe's and you type in military, I'm going to pop up. I'm the only one with military in his title at Lowe's. So you're going to find me very easily, and always connect. Feel free to message me. I have a auto accept pretty much for everybody that friend requests. So please feel free to reach out and join us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate you being here.
No, thanks for having us.
Next up, Elisa Bennett from Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction, Candy. So Amazon obviously is a large tech company that does a little bit of everything, but primarily focuses on e-commerce and cloud computing. And that's where we have our SkillBridge opportunities, Worldwide Operations and Amazon Web Services. So Worldwide Operations is a business that is activated when a customer orders from our e-commerce platform, Amazon.com. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. And so it's the large supply chain system that's working behind the scenes to ensure our customers are getting their products on time. AWS is the name of our large cloud computing platform, and we have many roles that support this service. However, AWS is specifically using SkillBridge to fill their AWS Technical Apprenticeship Program, which is an extensive training program that trains service members into a number of technical roles. So in regards to timing for operational roles, we do have a cohort that's going to start January 25th, ending March 19th of next year. And so we're looking to fill 2 primary roles. They are the area manager role and the operations manager role. A little bit about the 2 roles is the area manager is essentially going to be a manager that's leading cross-functional teams, tasked with solving operational problems, also tasked with mentoring, coaching, and motivating associates to ensure that we are reaching the highest level of safety and quality quality are maintained. The operations manager are essentially our manager of managers, and so they're going to be managing the day-to-day functionalities of inbound or outbound section of our fulfillment centers, and they oversee our area managers along with their associates. And we're actually going to be launching this SkillBridge program in a number of different locations throughout the US. They are going to be Robbinsville, New Jersey, Baltimore, Maryland, Northern California, Detroit, Michigan, Cleveland, and Columbus, Ohio, Southern California, and Connecticut. We are going to be posting these opportunities soon, so be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll make that announcement very soon, within hopefully the next 2 weeks. And then as far as the AWS technical roles, this is just a handful of the many technical apprenticeship programs that they advertise, but we have right now the solution architect apprenticeship program, technical sales, software development engineer, technical account managers, associate cloud consultants, cloud support apprentices, and so much more. So how do you apply formally to these opportunities? You go to amazon.jobs and you type in Amazon Military SkillBridge, and you'll see the current requisitions that we have posted that are live for SkillBridge right now. Keep in mind that operations is not posted yet, but it will be soon, so be sure to follow me when I make that announcement. If you have any questions regarding SkillBridge at Amazon, any questions at all, feel free to reach out to our team, Military SkillBridge at amazon.com. I also highly encourage a lot of service members to register for our weekly Amazon military webinars. So we have the link listed there on the PowerPoint. So we actually have a webinar that's going on right after this one. And so you'll have a chance to speak to recruiters and hiring managers directly. And I'll be on that webinar to go in a little bit deeper as far as SkillBridge opportunities. So I'll dive deeper into that. So be sure to follow me on LinkedIn. And then also since the launch of Amazon Military SkillBridge this year in April, I received a lot of inquiries. And so I did write a quick article. It's a quick 2-minute read. So if you prefer to read like a comprehensive review of the program, be sure to give that article a read regarding the top questions that I get. But that's all that I have regarding Amazon. So excited to be here and looking forward to our connection.
Thank you so much, Elisa. Next up is Harris Morris, Director of Veteran Initiatives at ADP.
Hello, and thank you. What an amazing opportunity this is. I have to say that for all the folks that are out there on the line, having the opportunity to see all these companies at one time and what they're trying to do to help veterans, I wish I had had that when I was getting out. So I am a 21-year Army veteran, and I manage the Veterans Initiative for ADP. We are a 60,000 person company, and we are basically a technology company that does human capital management, everything from hire to retire. A lot of folks know us for payroll and some of those types of things, but we cover a whole lot more than that. So my venture into the DoD SkillBridge program is for a few roles, and right now we're doing it out in the Tempe area of Arizona as our start point. We are looking for client support specialists and implementation specialists who help us to deliver our technology to our clients and to service our clients as they have questions about things. It's a great opportunity. Right now, like I said, we are just in the Tempe area, but we have a tremendous group of folks that want to help and bring the veterans in, get you mentors, you come on board, and we really hope to be growing this out in the near future. So in the chat box, I put our site, which is jobs.adp.com/veterans. You can learn more about our support of the military community as a whole. And you'll see down there, that's my mugshot. That's what you'll want to take a look at when you go onto LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out, connect, and I'm happy to talk with everybody. So just a great opportunity, and look forward to talking with all of you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Harris. Kathy Nice from Boeing. How are you, Kathy?
I'm fine. So thank you, Candy. Let me actually turn on my camera. I don't know if it's on. But yeah, hi. Thanks from Boeing. Thank you for the time. I just wanted to kind of touch high level, a little bit about Boeing. Boeing obviously has been one of the largest aviation companies out there. And so I just wanted to kind of connect briefly to give you my LinkedIn and kind of share a little bit of what the roles we're sharing. within SkillBridge. And so, as you know, Boeing is a company that's looking to innovate and to kind of change the future of aerospace. And so I wanted to kind of share some of the roles that we're currently hiring, anywhere from aircraft mechanics to electricians, to engineers, and within our fire and safety. So these are just a couple positions that if you want to connect with me, I've put in our link for our talent pipeline if you're interested. I will say that we are fairly new to kind of launching this program, and we're kind of doing kind of more of a program refresh, especially with all the pandemic going on. So a lot of these roles are hybrid roles that are currently online and then also in person. So just connect with me offline, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Awesome, Kathy. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Candy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. My name's Dave Lee. I lead military programs at CBS. And I'll talk a little bit about SkillBridge, but before I do, I just want to share, briefly about CBS. Most of you are aware of the company. You see the pharmacies all over the country. We have 10,000 of them. But the reality is that only reflects about a quarter of the total revenue we do as a company. We're a Fortune 5, and we're involved in lots of different elements of healthcare. So we own Aetna, and we provide health insurance. One of our businesses, Caremark, provides pharmacy benefits management insurance. We have Quorum, a home infusion business. We're actually one of the largest employers of nurses in the United States, and we employ a lot of military spouses in that area. We've developed a store manager and training program that we've connected into SkillBridge. We've tried a couple of other programs and haven't had interest because like some of our logistics roles aren't close to military bases. But with stores all across the country and close to military bases, these programs provide training in our stores, as well as it also combines some online training to help give you the skills you need and set you on a path to become a store manager after you leave service. The program's 12 weeks long, and it matches a program that we provide to all of our store managers with a few minor exceptions. My email is on the list. Please email me if you've got questions, want to know more. My ask is give me a name and your phone number, provide where you're at, and if you're looking to do training in a location other than where you're stationed, let me know where you're looking at with that, and I can get you connected with a person on our team that can answer your questions. But we hire transitioning service members into lots of other roles, or I should say veterans into lots of other roles. Our military website is listed, so please take a look there. We have a military talent community. You can join that and get information from our recruiting team about lots of different opportunities that exist at CBS. So thanks. I shared my LinkedIn information earlier in the chat box. I'll put it up again here shortly. Please feel free to connect with me and let me know how I can help you. Thanks for doing this, Candy and Kevin.
Hey, Dave, listen, we always appreciate you having you here. And David, something you said reminded me of something that came up in our last session that I just wanted to remind folks of. For everybody out there listening, David says something really important. You can email me, but this is my ask. And what I want everybody on the call to know is every single panelist on this webinar is literally working their ass off every day to help every transitioning service member, veteran, and military spouse that was looking for work. And by the way, not just these folks, but tons of other people. Every recruiter that I know is working overtime right now. When you reach out to a recruiter or to anybody that might be able to give you a referral into their company, for example, what Dave said is really important. Like, help them help you, right? So of the hundreds of emails Dave probably gets a day, give him enough that he can easily forward you to the right person. Sorry, I'll get off that for a second, but David, I think that's really important, and I appreciate you calling that out.
Yeah, and Candy, if I could just add, just to give everybody an idea of like everything we're dealing with, we've been hiring all through COVID. In the first month in April, after everything was really, kind of hitting and unemployment was going to record highs, we had 1 million applications in a 1-month period. So our recruiting teams are still, overwhelmed because there's a lot of people still looking for jobs right now. So, anything you can do so that I don't have to exchange a few emails to get the information makes it easier for me to be able to help you. So thanks for pointing that out, Candy.
Absolutely. And to that, I'll also say, for those of you that weren't on the call with Kevin Werdy last week, he talked a lot about the different ways into the company. So campus recruiting, veteran recruiting, referrals. Please check that out. I think it's really important. The more that job seekers understand about how military recruiters work inside of their organizations, I think is really helpful. Thank you again, Dave.
Hello.
Hello, Maria. How are you?
Good. Thank you. So my name is Maria Baer, and I am a veterans recruitment specialist at Mayo Clinic. I am an Army veteran myself. And after retiring 3 years ago from the military, I started working at Mayo Clinic. Thank you, 50 Strong, for giving me the opportunity to kind of give you an update on where we are. We are in the very beginning stages of the SkillBridge program. Right now, we are going through the credentialing process with Boris's people, and we're hoping to get approved. We are looking at creating opportunities for internships. We have 3 campuses in Rochester, Minnesota, Arizona, and we have Phoenix and Scottsdale, and also in Jacksonville, Florida. We also have what we call the Mayo Clinic Health System, and those are outlier clinics in Minnesota and Wisconsin. For the SkillBridge program, we are looking at creating opportunities in positions in the areas like IT, research, supply chain, administrative, and nursing. And I want to mention something because people usually think Mayo Clinic and that our positions are mostly clinical practice, like doctors and nurses, but we have 65,000 employees, and of those positions, the majority are actually support positions like IT and research. So something to keep in mind, not just for SkillBridge, but also if you're looking for actual employment. We are very grateful for the opportunity to participate also in the SkillBridge Industry Advisory Council that Boris' office started. And very excited to learn from this team because these are some great industry partners that successfully have implemented this program. So we are looking forward to learning more from them. And if you're interested in updates, you can follow me on LinkedIn, and a few of you have already started, so thank you for that. We'll be providing updates via LinkedIn. And we right now are very optimistic to have this program going live by Q1 of 2021. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, my email is on the slide. Feel free to email me, whether it's about SkillBridge or any other employment opportunity. We love helping veterans, and I just feel myself very blessed that I get the opportunity to combine my military experience with my HR experience to help other veterans. Thank you.
Awesome. And also shout out to Marsha Edwards.
To Marsha. Yes, I would be remiss not to mention my colleague in Arizona, Marsha. She has been instrumental, and Candy and her and Boris have really helped us navigate the SkillBridge, all the process.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Maria. We are excited to follow what Mayo's doing in this space.
Thank you.
Next, we have Joe Wallace from Microsoft.
Thank you, Candy, and thank you and Kevin and 50 Strong for putting on this important series and having a great impact across this community. It's great to be on a call with all these other industry partners and everyone who's joined today. Our approach in what we do at Microsoft and face the military community is to partner with others to learn and to collaborate and find the best solution for those who are transitioning. And I'll talk a little bit to that as I talk to our SkillBridge program. So we launched what you see here on the screen in our slide, which is sort of our primary focus in the SkillBridge area, which is the Microsoft Software and Systems Academy. We launched it 7 years ago as a pilot here at Joint Base Lewis McChord in the Puget Sound area. Joint Base Lewis McChord was doing great things in the SkillBridge arena, and the timing was great, and we launched a program, and we're currently at 15 classrooms across the U.S. over time, we've evolved and learned and tried to stay current with the industry. The tech industry changes. It's changed quite a bit in these last 7 years. So it's been a great experience. And we're continuing to grow it and evolve. This pandemic has added some challenges, and we were able to go virtual with the program. All of the classrooms were live instruction day to day in the classroom during that cohort time in the MSSA program. And we spoke to our partners in the DoD and all our other stakeholders on the bases, and were able to go virtual right away back in March. And as there's still uncertainty in what's going on across the space, we're going to remain virtual into the new year with our cohorts that'll kick off in January as well. Those that are interested in the program, on your base, if you speak to anyone in the transition space, they can connect you to our program if we're on your location. Or if you're interested in attending from a different location, you can go to our website at military.microsoft.com, our programs and training, and you can see the specific base that we're on. In this virtual space, we're actually open to individuals all across the DoD. So if you're interested in our January cohorts, it's time to begin engaging and finding out what might be appropriate for you. The 2 learning paths are in software development. We call it cloud application development. And then the other is cloud and server administration. So we're focused on cloud technologies and then all the software and then the network side that supports that. If you have any questions on that site, you can go to our website. You can send me a note on LinkedIn. I put my LinkedIn link on the Q&A earlier on the chat. And so please connect with me. I'd be happy to answer your questions. But we also partner with others in SkillBridge. So the Hiring Our Heroes program that we've been partnering with since they kicked off, we're engaged with them in a big way up here in the Puget Sound area. We're very headquarter centric. We have about 50,000 people on campus when we're on campus. I happen to be here today, and it's kind of a ghost town around the Microsoft campus, but we've been this way for several months. So you can engage with any of the Hiring Our Heroes points of contact for their SkillBridge program and the corporate fellowship program, as they call it. And if you're interested in Microsoft, let them know, and they'll reach out to us. We host quite a few people here. We're growing what we do in the DC area, and then now we're actually bringing people from remote locations who are interested in the corporate fellowship, and we can bring you under that HOH corporate fellowship umbrella and then still join Microsoft during that 12-week corporate fellowship. And then we've also had individuals who've used the DoD SkillBridge program as an individual and have found opportunity at Microsoft, and we bring them in under that avenue as well. So, and just to speak back to the Microsoft Software and Systems Academy, we work with industry partners to get individuals hired when they complete the program. Microsoft hires a percentage, and we've had over 600 other industry partners hire from MSSA as well. And it all depends on where the service member may want to live, or their geographic preferences or skills and experiences that determine where we look to get them employed. And we support that employment process till employment occurs. So we're putting resources into not just the technical training, but the employment piece as well.
Awesome.
Thank you, Candy, very much. It's been great to be part of.
Thank you, Joe. And Joe, Kevin and I are excited. We'll see you again next week, along with Maggie Bott, who's
Don't get sick of me.
recruiter for Microsoft. So we're gonna have lots of time together in the near future.
Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Kevin.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Many of you may have noticed that Liz McLean was planning to join us today as well. Liz had a personal item that she had to tend to today, and so I offered to at least highlight some of the roles that Northrop Grumman has open as part of their DoD SkillBridge offering. Most importantly, I'm pointing you all to their website so you can see the URL there. What I will tell you is that Liz and her team through the DoD SkillBridge effort have done some really awesome work. I was looking today on their website, and I think there are 19, don't quote me on that, check the website for sure, but I think I saw 19 or 20 different requisitions across the country. And so that means they are basically actively taking in folks for lots of different roles and lots of different locations. If Northrop Grumman is what I'll call one of those target companies that you are interested in, please definitely check out their DoD SkillBridge offering. You can also follow Liz on LinkedIn. Liz also is actively involved in the DoD SkillBridge Community of Practice LinkedIn group, and she often posts any updates in there. So again, I encourage you to just take a look at that group, and again, check out the Northrop Grumman opportunities. So I'm not going to do final reminders just yet, because I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Scott Marley. We really wanted this session to be about connecting you with the latest on the DoD SkillBridge effort, which Boris has talked about. We also wanted to, the Employer Connect series is really all about connecting folks directly to employers, and then we get out of the way. But Scott's perspective as a transitioning service member, Special Forces commander of a recruiting battalion, I think is really important as we think about SkillBridge overall. The success of the program is largely contingent on command approvals. I know that we have a lot of questions in the Q&A chat box on that. But specifically, I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Scott Marley. Scott is a dear friend of mine and Kevin's, and so we thank you for being here and all that you're doing to champion efforts for DoD SkillBridge. Scott, would you mind to just share with us a little bit about your experience with SkillBridge, how you heard about it, and kind of your perspective from a recruiting perspective?
Yeah, sure. So hello, everyone. Like Candy said, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Morley. I have crashed Candy and Kevin's house for Thanksgiving, so thanks. They're good chefs as well. So I'll give you for this conversation, I guess I'll wear two different hats. So as a battalion commander, right, an O5 approval authority with UCMJ authority, and then also as specifically as a recruiting battalion commander, right? So the way I see SkillBridge, and the Army has a similar logical vein program called the Army PAYS program, the Partnership for Youth Success, where as a sitting recruiting battalion commander, one of my jobs was to expand the Army's PAYS program, again, Partnership for Youth Success, where you have companies sign on an MOU saying, hey, we're going to guarantee a job interview for exiting service members coming out of the Army, right? In a similar vein, right, and I think at a much bigger scale, thanks to Boris and his team, the DoD SkillBridge is the same way, right? So I see these programs, Candy said it earlier, as I see it as a win-win-win-win scenario, right? So from a company and a corporate perspective, I would say that having not been in the corporate sector yet, but I would say that, with our panelists as evidence, the SkillBridge program provides a corporation or a company, big or small, access to that top talent, right? All those intangible skills that service members bring to an organization, they're getting first crack at those through these internships. Second, the community wins. Why is the community win? Well, anywhere where that service member is going to land, where he or she, after transition and gets that first job, the community wins. Veterans are more community and more service oriented. They're more likely to vote. These are all things that I learned as a recruiting battalion commander. These are talking points that we use because it's true. I mean, service members, active or former, they're about a bigger picture. They tend to be about a bigger picture, and they act accordingly, right? The military wins, right? So the military wins because they have positive advocates both within the community, right? Positively transitioning service members, right? And also it provides a better link to the public sector, or the private sector, right? All of that is good from both a recruiting and from a positivity on the backside of veteran support on the backside. And then finally, the most important, the service member, right? Service members win because really, myself included, right? Never been in the private sector, right? I'm 20 years active duty plus 4 years of an esteemed military academy that don't count, right? had never been in that space, right? So I'm relying on people like Candy, like my wife, right, to like teach me what corporate America is all about, how to write a resume, right? It's scary, like you've never done it before, right? And so having an opportunity for an internship like these, I think, right, is a great way to learn that new culture, right? To adapt and really you have up to 180-day job interview, all right? To kind of, hey, this is what I'm really about, and I think it's a great way to get your foot in the door into that culture, into that company. So as a battalion commander, I will proudly say that I approved 100% of the applications for SkillBridge that came across my desk. Wasn't many, right? I don't have, the floodgates were not open in my battalion, thankfully. But it's intuitive to me. I found out about it, quite frankly, through Candy, right? And so I think, and we'll talk with Boris offline, but I think, there's a couple questions in the Q&A about how we're educating people like me, right? 05 and 06 level commanders. I think the logical plug-in point is at those pre-command courses across services, and we'll talk about that. But I think, I didn't know about it until I was halfway through my command, and Candy got me smart. And since then, the light bulb went off, and I'm doing stuff like this to spread the gospel, evangelize a little bit, to spread that word. And then also, so that's as a battalion commander, as an 05, commanding and approval authority. And then I'll put on my recruiter hat, right? So again, career special forces officer, I'm a Green Beret by trade. So we deal mostly in humans, right? And so in the recruiting space, same thing, we deal in humans. So as a recruiter, this program, again, is intuitive to me, right? Again, everybody wins, win, 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 win. And when you have opportunities like that, it's good for recruiting. So a lot of times, the influencers, the moms, the dads, the husbands, the girlfriends, what they're afraid of as a young man or a young woman is contemplating military services. Oh my God, what happens afterwards? I see all these homeless veterans with signs on the side of the road begging, right? And you hear about the 22 veteran suicides a day, like all the bad stuff, right? But when you hear about stuff like this, when you know that there's an out valve, right? There's a support net in place on the backside of that service. Huge for commanders and recruiters in all services to know that, so we can explain these things to influencers and say, hey, there are programs in place to ensure success once you take this off and you start wearing a suit and tie or a polo to work every day, right? And so for me, again, I'm a huge believer. Everybody wins, and so for the positive messaging that programs like DoD SkillBridge creates internally within DoD, and then externally outside the DoD, within our communities, within these corporations, and the more this grows, right, the more positive advocates. It's reciprocal. So you're going to have more, people like David, people like Joe, people like Mike Piper, who can help enunciate the positivity of having veterans in their spaces from the inside. So I'll pause there for anything else.
Scott, thank you. It's interesting. I am hearing about more service members than ever that are aware of the program. And so I think to have you basically advocating for the program, doing lots of approvals to this day, literally still supporting the folks that are kind of coming behind you. I actually was telling somebody the other day that I think those that missed out on SkillBridge opportunities, either because, like Kevin, he's been out far longer than it was in place, or those that didn't get to do it because their commands didn't approve. I think they can become the biggest advocates because they have transitioned and they do kind of understand that how important it is. And so thank you for what you're doing from all of us. Guys, we do have some time for Q&A. So Kev, I think you have been checking some of the Q&A box. I see a quick question from Mark that I'll answer quickly. Mark asked about, yep, I mentioned adding LinkedIn jobs into DoD SkillBridge into the LinkedIn job search. Mark, quick idea on that. In our kickoff session on August 27th, I actually went through how to set up different job alerts for searches. If you want to check that out, it's on at www.50-strong.us. So check that out. There's a whole bunch of just kind of tips and tricks for LinkedIn and how to use it. But I did specifically mention how to set up a job alert for DoD SkillBridge. So I hope that helps. Kev, there's other questions. I'm just catching up really quickly. Do you see any, Kevin, that think make sense? Or by the way, any of the other panelists, I think you can all see the Q&A box.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of them that Scott answered, and some of them you probably can't. I mean, some of it is, what happens when you get denied? And I think you mentioned, give me 2 seconds here, guys.
Let me, if I could, I'm going to ask Boris to explain that a little bit better.
Yeah.
I will say that I'll preface that with, Captain Scott Morley would make a lot different decisions than Lieutenant Colonel Scott Morley, right? And so a lot of the tactical problems that a young officer may see as complete showstoppers, a higher level authority, perhaps with some greater perspective, may think otherwise. So a lot of times you may have to, unfortunately, you may have to use an open door policy to an 05 or an 06 if need be. But I think, Boris, if you could, I think Kristen answered something in the chat on the side, but what should a service member do if, they don't have a knucklehead like me saying yes?
Sure, no problem. So, and to your point, as well as you probably mentioned on the side, and you saw, what we're doing is across the board to include SkillBridge. We are including SkillBridge training, learning. I hate using the word training because I think it's important to infuse learning across the continuum, especially for leadership continuum. So the biggest factor is educating our leadership to include the NCO chain continuum, and there's going into command, what all the programs are, because people get lost. And as I premised earlier on, this is a new program. We're still in the crawl stage. As you see this program, you see success and you see opportunity, please I'm putting everyone on notice. Please be advised. We are DoD, and the majority of leadership and others don't have awareness sometimes. Sometimes you might, that's why I premised, if you are interested and you find out about this program in TAP or through this messaging or others, please advise your command and give them the resources they need to learn about the program, because there are biases, as you can only imagine. I'm not going to let them go have a fun time and doing nothing, just hanging out for the next 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 180 days, whatever it might be. So you have those situations. We're trying to demystify SkillBridge. Some people don't even believe SkillBridge exists until they visit the DoD site and see the DoD badge. So, and then look up the policy. So please be aware of that. If you're new to this virtual chat here, and you'll meet those people, and it's just a simple fact that it happens. So the biggest factors are, if you do get denied, if you disapproved for whatever reason, mission requirements, whatever the fact those are, we see that a lot in the Navy, for instance, Marine Corps at times, and like for instance, a Coast Guard just stopped, for legal issues. I would say we want to thank the Department of Homeland Security for that, but we were able to add that language into the NDAA. Because Congress said, "What the heck, DHS?" So, be aware there are champions all across the spectrum, but the biggest factor is it is a young program. There are going to be impediments that we like to call challenges, which are opportunities. But you might be the brave soul that is going to have to walk those waters and choppy seas, we like to say in the Navy, or you can give a better caveat from the Army, right, from the field. Walk through the valley. But in any case, if you are denied, there are ways, and many of these groups, as mentioned throughout this talks, they are still hiring veterans. They're still hiring people. If you don't get the SkillBridge opportunity, still reach out to Lisa, Joe, and Liz, and others and Dan, they're all hiring still. I mean, so SkillBridge is just the way I caveat is a wonderful opportunity to have an extended interview and get your feet in the door and have exposure to that organization or industry. It is definitely world. I believe number one is meant for that E5 and below. That is really true. Who the population group. We know that that group is not served yet, but people always tell us, well, why do you have O5s and L6s in the group? Well, if I don't have O5s and L6s in the group, who's going to champion the program? So that's number one. But everybody, if you award a uniform and the program doesn't have restrictions by law, we're going to allow everybody to participate because they deserve the same opportunity. You know, Scott is going to take off the uniform. He needs that crosswalk opportunity as well because he knows hoorah. He doesn't know Amazon, how to be an Amazonian, the 14 values of it, or you know, what is the Azure stack or identity? What is that? What's this badge thing? I don't know. I know a cat card. So all those things matter, right? So that cultural stimulations are important. Like he knows the values and how to look up issuances in the Army and all that good stuff. So again, everybody needs that. But if you get a roadblock, as I was in a prior enlisted and a junior officer myself, and best advice I was ever given is don't look at that or feel that that's an impediment. Look at that as an opportunity. That's why I premise and we always ask our SkillBridge partners, can veterans participate? So that is, most of them say yes. And everybody, I think everyone on this phone call said you can always reach out to them. So just because you got a no from your command, you can still look to see if they're hiring or in a future destination that you're looking to be in. And I heard some comments made by some of our partners even. So if you have programs that before, as I mentioned before, were on base before, and because of the base or within the 50-mile radius, we are no longer constrained. We're Department of Defense. I mean, we're a global organization, so we don't have those constraints anymore. So if you have other programs, and I'm up and out to industry, if you have programs that are nationwide or global, we're open for business. So please reach back out to us or any of the individuals here on the call. We'll more have to discuss that and how we can support those opportunities for our service members for transitioning and separating as well. So I kind of heard that before, so I just wanted to comment on that as well. But
I'm going to give a shout out to Robert Best, who just put in the chat box a little bit ago. I think the best way to get your command to approve the application is to schedule a time to educate them before you submit the request. And I'll give a shout out because basically this is a really important part of civilian work, right? Managing expectations and then doing what we can to help folks get to an easy yes. So I would say if you're going that route, again, there are a whole boatload of people in that LinkedIn group, DoD SkillBridge Community of Practice, that can help give you the talking points. There are even some templates out there that I'm sure people will be happy to share. So Robert, kudos to you. Thank you so much. Elisa, we just had a comment in the Q&A box. I think a couple of folks are looking for where they can register for that Amazon session that you mentioned after this today. If you're able to drop that in the chat box, that would be awesome for everybody.
Awesome, will do.
Absolutely. Let's
Elisa, and sorry, Ken, to your points, on the resources pages, we did create a quote universal SkillBridge PowerPoint that can be used by commands. We purposely did that actually from a Q&A we did similar to this about a month, actually about 2 months ago now. We recognized from a call, it was an Air Force or Navy counselor, enlisted sergeant retention counselor. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. For those who are in Air Force, Navy career counselors, but we put together a generic slide deck with basically 4 or 5 slides on the SkillBridge program. So you can literally outfit it for your command to make it all, whatever your command is. So to talk about SkillBridge. If you want to do a local briefing or opportunity to make that available to them or others. Yep, Navy career counselors. So I know the Navy part, I just sometimes butcher the Air Force. So that's the big trouble for me. I get in trouble for the Air Force. But you know, they're second brother. They're the air side of the Army anyway, so I'm telling that. But in any case, so we have those resources and many others available on the SkillBridge site as well. So if you are looking to educate your command, reach out to look on the website, but definitely look to your installation or regional SkillBridge or career skills program coordinator or counselor. They will assist you and anybody else in the command to gain that information and be more comfortable with the decision making. Because a lot of times it's really being comfortable with the decision making. If more knowledge is power, as they say. Sorry about that. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, Boris. Boris, we have a question. I think it's probably best for you. What's the correct program for reservists since they're in the military but may not qualify for SkillBridge? Can you talk a little bit about eligibility for reservists?
Sure. So I'll talk about how the current process is for reservists and how reservists and we hope industry and other and the partnerships can work. So we make, I would say, because of the SkillBridge brand, I'll put it that way. Because we go and do the vetting process and we identify employers who are actively seeking service members in the capacity of reservists even, right? Because reservists go ahead and get the training and then they go back to their communities and they drill once a month and 2 weeks a year. So for us, that's an important group to have gainful employment throughout their careers even. So what a wonderful opportunity there from the great array of occupations that we have in the military. So we ask that question from our skill, that's in a questionnaire, if you will. Are you willing or interested in having opportunities for reservists and guard? In the same effect as, so we treat that kind of like if you were denied by your command to participate in SkillBridge, you can basically, are you willing to hire? Or a lot of these same employers have internships, fellowships independent of SkillBridge. So, or apprenticeships, so they're willing to bring on people, and a lot of times just service members or individuals don't know that. So we're almost providing a clearinghouse, so that makes sense through the SkillBridge site. So just want to premise that is number one. Number two, reservists and guardsmen can participate in SkillBridge if they have orders, like any other active duty service member, or their FTS or AGR. So that's number two. So obviously, if you have active orders and for more than 180 days, but that's, I'm sure that, and you're retiring or transitioning out, separating, etc., you can participate in SkillBridge. So there is no doubt about that. That's number two. Number three, in the current NDA, who knows if they'll ever get signed out, there is language to support reservists in a joint cost opportunity. So that's going to be tricky, I think, personally. I look forward to seeing how that gets worked out. And so in that scenario, it is for the guardsmen who are not part of like the Army Reserve or the Marine Corps Reserve or the Naval Reserve Force. If you're part of the Guard, I think it's going to be tricky for the Guard side. The states would be responsible for half the cost of the pay and benefits. So it'll be interesting to see how that, if that does get, when the NDA passes and that is still, the language is still in there, how that plays out. But there is such language in there as well for that. So I just want to put those 3 points out there.
Thank you so much, Boris. And again, I just want to thank all the panelists that have joined today. For those of you that are on the call, before we wrap up, I wanted to just share a few friendly reminders that I think are really important. I cannot stress this enough when it comes to DoD SkillBridge. Do not wait for placement. Proactively open every single door that you can for DoD SkillBridge. I encourage you to leverage LinkedIn as much as possible. You know, in the chat box, however many LinkedIn URLs are now in there, these are many new connections, and there is so much opportunity basically waiting for you on LinkedIn every day. So feel free. There are lots of ways that you can get tips and tricks on how to use LinkedIn. If you would like to check out a replay of a 50 strong session that we did on leveraging LinkedIn, you can find it on our website. I encourage every single transitioning service member to find your tribe of mentors that can support you through the process. One platform that I really like is Veterati, but again, just find your tribe of people that are hopefully in your industry and in your location that can support you. I encourage you engage directly with all of those working in industry, regardless of where you are in your transition. And I say this specifically for, you know, student veterans are a great example. They're in extended transition, but that exposure directly to industry is so important. And then, you know, sessions like this and the ones that Amazon does every week, being on LinkedIn, it just helps you understand the culture, the language, the day in the life, the recruiting process, even of the target jobs and industries that you're looking for. So again, I cannot stress this enough. We did a session with Kevin Wordy last week that I think is foundational to assist in that understanding. Please check that out. Last but not least, Kevin and I are here every Thursday, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Many of the employers that have joined us today will be joining us again in the future. Again, next week we have Microsoft and Tech Systems joining us, so I think that's going to be a really great session. And with that, I would like to say thank you to all of our panelists today for joining us. Again, we want to just basically provide an introduction and then get out of the way. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing with DoD SkillBridge and beyond that as well. I want to again say thank you to our 4 university partners. Thank you so much. And to our corporate partners, ADP, Amazon, and Tech Systems. The series is only possible because of your support. And so again, we appreciate you all. With that, again, I'll say to the panelists, thank you so much. Anybody have last words of wisdom they want to share? Awesome.
Stay safe.
Again,
Don't take your first no.
Thank you all so much for being here. Boris, thank you so much for your leadership. We really appreciate it. With that, guys, we are wrapping 1 minute ahead so that everybody has time to go jump on the Amazon session in just a bit.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ken and Kevin.
Thanks.
Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks.